the weekend. We have a great show lined up for you today. Welcome to Aries Rose TV. If you're not familiar with me, my name is Aries Rose. Let's get into the lineup that we have for you to start our weekend off. We're going to be talking about actor Quentin Aaron. So we have some good news. He is seemingly recovering from a spinal stroke that he had, but he's saying that his spiritual wife has tried to delete him. So, we got to get into what he's talking about there. Let's see what's going on. In more news, we have Corey Holcomb, who has responded to the lead attorney, dropping receipts on the conversation that he had with Corey's attorney, giving him authorization to speak to him on the show. So we got to talk about that. Let's get into what Corey had to say. We also got Anton Daniels' alleged side chick, Micca. She speaks out. She's done an interview with Tasha K and on Talk Perspective with Orlando. Talk a little bit about those, see what she has to say, see if it even cleared the air and made things worse. And then we have the Reverend Jesse Jackson and Eric Dane that passed away. So we're going to talk a little bit about those two gentlemen, their contributions, and what happened up to their ending days here. If you have not already done so, like the video as you come in. It's a free way to support the channel. It lets the algorithm know we are here, helps get more eyes on us. Really appreciate the support. We're going to get into our first story here, talking about actor Quentin Aaron. So I've done a couple shorts when he had a medical emergency and he had to go, and I want to say maybe this was a few weeks ago or a month ago, he had to go into the hospital, and then later it was mentioned that he had a spinal stroke, and his wife had been giving updates and had been providing information to TMZ. So everything seemed on the up and up. And then all of a sudden his family started to say that they didn't think something was all good with his wife, and that she is actually married to another man, so she can't be his wife. So then, it starts to be questions of, wait a minute, what is your actual relationship with Quentin Aaron? And so she does admit that she is married to somebody else, but she says that Quentin knew that and that she is his spiritual wife and that she didn't try to do anything to harm him or delete him, but he believes that she tried to delete him. So let's get into this. This is reporting from TMZ. Quentin Aaron's split is getting messier because he's convinced his spiritual wife, Margarita Aaron, tried to delete him, though she claims he's full of it. We received statement from the Blindside actor Thursday, and he explains to us Margarita lied to him by not admitting she's legally married to someone else. Now, according to her, he was already aware of that, and this is Margarita Aaron, who's his spiritual wife. Y'all let me know. I don't know what a spiritual wife is. I know what a wifey is in that sense, but I don't know what a spiritual wife is. But the fact she was trying to claim herself to be one is kind of odd to begin with. Let's get back into this story. Quentin's convinced Margarita was, quote, trying to take him out, end quote, adding he feels Margarita is satanic. He said he's made it clear, quote, publicly to family, close friends, and the hospital staff that he doesn't want to see her or talk to her, end quote. Instead, he plans to focus on his recovery, faith, family, and career moving forward. And Margarita tells us point blank she's never tried to delete Quentin because she loves the guy, and she says she's even pushed him to pursue a healthier lifestyle. Quentin has a history of health problems, Margarita argues, adding she met him in the hospital, so his latest hospitalization isn't her fault. We're going to take a pause here for comments. We got Brady Milas, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Nicolas, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for the hearts. I really, really appreciate that. I hope you guys are having a fabulous weekend. Let me know you're here. Drop a comment. We have a leaderboard going, so the more you comment, we'll definitely give you a shout out. Really appreciate everybody stopping by. So we're going to show the latest photo that's been released here, and this is Quentin, and he's in the hospital. So he had a spinal stroke here, and he was not conscious from the last reporting that I had did on it, and he has since then, he's conscious now. I believe he's said some words, but he's definitely got some mobility, not back to 100%, but definitely better than what the original situation was, and I'm very happy to hear that. I'm hoping that his spiritual wife, girlfriend, friend, wifey, whatever she was to him, didn't have anything to do with it. I don't know how she could have triggered a spinal stroke, to be honest with you. So I'm not necessarily convinced that that may have happened because of her, because I don't think that that can be triggered by external factors, but let me know because I am not a doctor, so maybe you can trigger that type of reaction with something, but I just highly doubt that. But if it's not a good relationship for them and he's not wanting to be with her, then it probably is best to go ahead and let him be with his family and let him recover from this very traumatic and very serious, situation. Let's get back into this reporting on the story from TMZ. Margarita tells us she's a spiritual woman of God and, quote, if anything came from spirits or satanic, it's from Quentin's side of the family, end quote. As for already being legally married, Margarita tells us Quentin knew that was a possibility because she says he knew her estranged husband refuses to sign the divorce papers. So saying that he knew or saying that he knew it could be a possibility sounds a little funky there. So I don't know if she was kind of playing with the wording or playing with her marital status with him. But the point is, she knew she wasn't able to be married to him because that divorce wasn't finalized. So she was trying to lead him on to give a different impression. I'm not okay with that, but let's see what the story says. We brought the story. Quentin suffered a spinal stroke recently, which landed him in the hospital, where Margarita misrepresented herself as wife to medical staff, claiming the two got spiritually married. Jared, Quentin's younger brother, was just granted a restraining order against Margarita, which Quentin says he totally supports. So as I understand right now, she can't be in the hospital. She can't make any decisions on his behalf. She can't do anything for him. So that's, if that's in the best interest of Quentin and that's what he wants, then I'm by all means support it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I think this is just such a bizarre story, kind of some interesting twists and turns. We're definitely following this one, but we do wish him all the best and hopefully a full recovery. And let's get into our next story. So sadly, the Reverend Jesse Jackson has passed away at the age of 83. This gentleman was very, very influential in the civil rights movement. And here in February, Black History Month, I think, what an appropriate month to pass away for a gentleman who was very instrumental as being on the ground with some of the most well-known civil rights leaders, one of those being Martin Luther King Jr. So he's definitely been out there in the days that life was even harder for Black Americans than it is today. And some of the work that he did and work alongside others helped pave the way for life to be different for us now. And just very much appreciate the sacrifices and all the risks that they took going out there to go against the grain and to fight to say that, no, you're not going to treat me differently because I don't look like you, because my skin color is different. I deserve the same treatment, the same respect, the same dignity. And I'm all for that because they made life differently for me. And I'm hoping things that I do makes life differently for my kids so that one day they never even have to experience this. And this is only something that you read about in history books. I hope I live long enough to see that day come. But let's get into a little bit about the life of this very impressive man who lived, I want to say it was 83 years. I'm going to take a pause for comments here. We got Catherine. Welcome. Thank you for stopping by. As you come in, hit that like button. It's a free way to support the channel. Lets the YouTube algorithm know we're here. Helps get more eyes on the channel. Let me know you're here by dropping a comment. Want to give you a shout out for stopping by. Let me know if you're a first-time watcher in the comments, or if you are a returning Aries crew member. Let me know. And we're about to get into it. Did you say you just joined, Kimball? Thank you so much for coming by and checking out the channel. Really appreciate you. Now let's jump into this reporting about the passing of Reverend Jesse Jackson from TMZ. Reverend Jesse Jackson, civil rights pioneer and Baptist minister who twice ran for U.S. president, has died, according to his family. Jesse's family issued a statement Tuesday morning celebrating the icon. Quote, our father was a servant leader, not only to our family, but to the oppressed, the voiceless, and overlooked around the world. We shared him with the world. In return, the world became a part of our extended family. His unwavering belief in justice, equality, and the love uplifted millions. We ask you to honor his memory by continuing to fight for the values he lived by. End quote. Jackson died peacefully with his loved ones at his side. His official cause of death has not been released. In November, Jesse was hospitalized after living for over a decade with PSP, which is progressive supranuclear palsy. According to Rainbow Push Coalition, the disease impacts patients' ability to walk and swallow and has dangerous complications. Jesse was also diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2017, so it sounds like he had a couple different things going on towards the end of his life. He was born in Greenville, South Carolina. Jesse quickly rose to prominence as an activist during the civil rights era. He became close with Dr. Martin Luther King and marched alongside him during demonstrations. Jesse's advocacy for blacks and poor stretched over several decades. Jackson also dove into national politics, running for presidency in 1984 and 1988. Lost both times. During his 1984 campaign for Democratic nomination, Jesse famously called New York City Hymietown, using the term Hyme to refer to NYC's large Jewish population. The Republican candidate Ronald Reagan went on to defeat Walter Mondale in 1984 election in a landslide. But at least he went out there and tried. There always has to be somebody to be first. I don't know if he was the first, but there's always somebody who has to be out there to kind of pave the way here, and he was one of them. Oh, excuse me, he was 84 years old, not 83. Thank you for your contributions. You will not be forgotten, and hopefully we just continue to improve and get better. And then we're going to talk about, sadly, heard about another person who was passed away this week, and that is actor Eric Dane. And he has sadly passed away at the age of 53. He was on Grey's Anatomy, an actor. Sadly, he was battling ALS. He did share that he had this diagnosis, I want to say in 2025. And it's a sad outcome, but it's expected when you do get that diagnosis. It's one of those very, very tough diseases to get, a very scary diagnosis to get. He said he had to go through a lot to get it, go through numerous doctors and tests, and finally got that diagnosis. And I'm sure there is some relief in knowing what's going on with you, but I'm sure there's also a fear when you get that particular diagnosis as well, because as far as I'm aware, there is not a cure for it. And let's get into these details from TMZ. Eric Dane has died at the age of 53 following a battle with ALS. The family says in a statement to TMZ, quote, "With heavy hearts, we share that Eric Dane passed on Thursday afternoon following a courageous battle with ALS. He spent his final days surrounded by his dear friends, his devoted wife, and his two beautiful daughters, Billy and Georgia, were the center of his world. Throughout his journey with ALS, Eric became a passionate advocate for awareness and research, determined to make a difference for others facing the same fight. Eric adored, or he will be deeply missed and lovingly remembered always. Eric adored his fans and is forever grateful for the outpouring of love and support he's received. The family has asked for privacy as they navigate this impossible time," end quote. And I couldn't even imagine, and I'm sure it was a very scary thing to go through, but I'm glad he had his family and his wife there. I believe he left some final words to his daughters as well, and talked about how much he appreciated um, them and gave them some advice here. And let's get a little bit more into this ALS. It's commonly known as Lou Gehrig's disease. ALS is a nervous system disease that affects nerve cells in the spinal cord and brain. It gets worse over time and causes loss of muscle control. According to the Mayo Clinic, there is no cure for ALS. So it's like you just slowly start to be able to lose function of being able to walk, move your arms, move your legs, move your feet. And very, very scary to experience, especially when you are used to having mobility, and I'm sure your mind is still working, but you just can't make your body do what you want it to do anymore. I just couldn't imagine getting that diagnosis, or anybody else I know. So my heart definitely goes out to his family and anybody else who's impacted by his passing. Let me know your favorite show or movie that he was in. He will definitely be missed. And now we got to get into some tea here. And we're going to go over to, we had the lead attorney who did a presentation, I guess, if you will, on some communication that he had, some correspondence that he had with Corey Holcomb's attorney that gave him authorization, or at least gave the impression that he had authorization to speak to this attorney about Corey's particular case regarding Christina Payne. And so the case with Christina Payne, if you are not familiar, TMZ released some footage of Corey Holcomb mushing, hitting, touching, whatever the case may be. He had a physical interaction with a fellow comedian, Christina Payne. And that video came out, and according to him, once that video came out by TMZ, it started to impact his ability to get jobs and to get work. So he says he was losing gigs because of that. And lead attorney had spoken about that situation, about whether or not there Corey Holcomb was in the right, or he just kind of talked about it from a legal perspective. And I guess Corey Holcomb did not particularly maybe care for the perspective that he had, but he did mention that he had gotten authorization from Corey to talk to his attorney, so that the attorney was supposed to be on the show and he was going to discuss the case. And then that attorney did not end up going on lead attorney's show. And then Corey Holcomb started saying that he believed that the lead attorney was lying, that he never gave him authorization to talk to his attorney at all. He doesn't know where he got that from. And that is why lead attorney felt that he needed to do this presentation, if you will, to show the correspondence that he had with Corey's attorney, to kind of clear his name, because he was being called a liar. And he's like, hold on, I actually talked to your attorney. This is what they said, and this is why I'm saying this. So either your attorney is lying, or Corey is lying about giving his attorney authorization to talk to him. And even with dropping receipts, and lead attorney said straight up, in the 5 years I've been on YouTube, I've never had to do this. I've never shown DMs, but he felt he needed to do that because his name and his reputation was kind of being dragged. And I can understand that. He said he takes it very seriously. And he says, I'm not like some of these YouTubers just talking to be talking. I take this very seriously. So he just felt that that was something he needed to address. And even then, he said that he felt that Corey was getting a raw deal with this Christina Payne situation, and to paint him out to be a D-beer or an AB user based on that is kind of a stretch. So he was still trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, even though Corey has been saying some pretty disrespectful things about lead attorney, and insinuating some pretty disrespectful things about lead attorney, of not just saying them outright. But I did appreciate the professionalism and the class that lead attorney expressed when he did make his point about why he was saying that he had authorization to speak to Corey's attorney. And I felt that he did that without making any low blows or having to call somebody out of their name. Well, this made it back to Corey. And according to Corey, he watched it, and he had his 5150 show on Tuesday. And boy, did he come with some stuff, calling himself exposing the lead attorney. So we're going to talk about that, and you let me know if you think he exposed the lead attorney, or if Corey's just kind of digging himself into a deeper hole. In a second here, I'm going to take a quick drink. All right, so now that we're caught up, he did a show on Tuesday here. In this show on Tuesday, he had his lawyer, Derek Dion, on there for a little bit. And he had his lawyer, Derek Dion, on there because he wanted him to address what the lead attorney was saying in he was calling it a presentation, about him giving him authorization to speak to him about the case. So Derek Dion, to me, kind of goes around the subject. And instead of kind of addressing straight up the question of, did you give lead attorney the green light to say that you could talk to him? Did you actually ask Corey this? Or did you just say that? He kind of goes in a roundabout way. So he says the lead attorney insulted him on his show. In my personal opinion, the lead attorney did not insult him. He just laid out the facts. Now, if you found that insulting, I don't know why, because he just simply laid out the communications that he had with this person. So if that somehow made you feel, it painted you in a certain way, it's your own words. He didn't kind of say anything other than what was already there. But he says he then hired a private investigator to start looking into the lead attorney. So then he goes into trying to give us the lead attorney's alleged legal name, which I'm not going to release here, because if the lead attorney has not shared that, then he may not want that out there. And I don't know for sure that that is his name. And then on top of that, they play an audio of Derek calling. I'm not sure if it's the state bar in Georgia or what this line is that verifies if a attorney has an active license or not. But he plays audio of this call checking on the license status of what they're saying is the lead attorney's legal name, see if it's active or not. And the person on the line, and I don't even know if they knew they were being recorded, but that person on the line says that their status is inactive. So they think that that's this big gotcha, like, oh, this man is parading that he's a lawyer, but he doesn't have an active law license. Well, lead attorney has said on many occasions that he is retired and no longer practices law. He does YouTube full time. So having an inactive license is not a gotcha moment to me, because he's already put that out there. And he put that out there long before any of this controversy was going on with Corey Holcomb. So that doesn't, to me, prove anything. Now, they go on to say, according to the lead attorney's website, he is offering what they term as legal advice. But if he's not an active lawyer, then he can't be giving advice, can't be giving legal advice. I haven't read the lead attorney's website, but where I'm a little bit not going in on 100% in believing that he is trying to give legal advice as an attorney is it may be more on a consulting type of basis, because just because you're not an active attorney, meaning you can't go to a courtroom and try a case in front of a judge, doesn't mean that your knowledge of law is somehow invalid or not useful, or that you can't give generalities to people when you're answering something based on a law perspective from the knowledge that you've gained from school or from practice. Where I believe it becomes illegal is if you're trying to act as someone's attorney and you are not one, or you're trying to present yourself as an active attorney and you don't have an active license. That to me is fraud in law, but I'm not an expert on that. If you know more, by all means, let me know. But they thought these moments were gotcha moments on exposing the lead attorney for being a fake attorney. But again, he never says he actively practices law now. He says he's a YouTuber, so he's just using his background, assuming he did go to law school, and I don't have a reason to question that. He's just using his background and his knowledge to add a law perspective on cases or different things that are out there, and that's simply what he was doing on the Corey Holcomb case. He didn't put out the video himself. That was TMZ. He was just commenting on it like many others have. So that to me, really, I didn't like that part, because I felt like the lead attorney was never trying to tear Corey down at any time, but to come on, try to expose a person's real name if that's not how they want to be known. I feel that that's their right. If you want to preserve your anonymity and use a different name online, that's your business, because he's not coming on trying to present anything else. He's just doing his commentary with a legal twist to it. But to do that, to try and play audio thinking you're exposing a person for not being an active attorney, to then insinuate that this person may have had a relationship with Kevin Samuels, because he had what I believe is just a slip of the tongue when he said, I was dating a woman when I was dating Kevin Samuels. But I think he said, no, I mean, I was dating a woman when I started talking to Kevin Samuels for the first time, meaning first times they were communicating on the phone as fellow YouTubers. But that slip of the tongue, which could happen to anybody when you get your thoughts a little mixed up and your words get a little mixed up, he was trying to use to insinuate maybe those two had a relationship, trying to insinuate that lead attorney may be into other lead attorneys, if you know what I mean. And I just thought that was a little bit of a stretch. And why does it need to go to that level? Why do you need to insult or try and tear this person down in that way, especially when he wasn't trying to do that to him. So for me, that just really surprised me as the way that Corey responded back to that, just kind of digging in deeper. Let me know your thoughts if you checked out that live or if you think kind of Corey Holcomb is crashing out. That lead attorney situation, that's where he lost me. I can understand if you may be frustrated because Derek, I don't think, was very forthcoming with Corey, or the two are trying to cover for each other. I'm not 100% sure. But Derek did end up addressing that, and he said that he was very hesitant to deal with the lead attorney because when he reached out to him, he reached out to him with a Gmail and it didn't have his real name or a law firm or anything. He could go back, and he said he had to vet the guy because he just wasn't too sure. He was just real hesitant about it. And he didn't know when he reached out that he had been on Corey's show and that he had a relationship with Corey. So he had to do some research. And then he's like, oh, well, he's an African-American lawyer. He's got about 600,000 followers or so. He seems like the real deal. And he had a relationship with Corey, and he said he wanted to help Corey. So I didn't see there was nothing wrong with it. And anything I would have said, I just would have been helping Corey because lawyers go on shows all the time. And I know what to say on a lawyer's show. So I didn't think anything of it. He came at me as a friend and a comrade, but he didn't think he was going to put him out there with the DMs. So he was trying to say, like, I'm not a part of this YouTube stuff. I'm a real trial lawyer, so I don't know how this works. And to have him try to, put me out here like that. And I just thought he wasn't trying to put you out there like that. He was just trying to clarify, this is why I said that. And it was still like, but did you tell him he could talk to you or not? Like, did you get authorization from Corey or not? And so he says straight up, I did not get authorization from Corey, but he did tell lead attorney that he would be able to talk to him and that he was cleared to talk to him. Now, what kind of threw me off is, according to lead attorney, he reached out, got a follow up from Derek, and then the follow from Derek said, I gotta get this cleared with Corey. I'll reach back out to you. And then he said the next day he reached back and said, I'm clear to talk to you. So if you were so hesitant, you didn't know he was on Corey's show, you didn't know Corey had a relationship with him, you did all that research in a day or less to just quickly respond back to him saying yes, and you never actually asked Corey at all. Now, again, he never actually went on to the show, but to me, that's a sketchy point right there. If it were me, Corey, I'd have some questions. If my attorney's telling somebody yes, got me out here telling everybody I never gave authorization, but my attorney's given an impression that I did give authorization, and he just straight up admitted he never talked to me at all. Why are you insulting lead attorney then? I think the conversation is more with the attorney. These are just my thoughts. Let me know what you think. The year Corey Holcomb has been having, I'm sure is not how he expected 2026 to be, but I just truly hope he's got some friends by him, some family that let him know, like, it's not looking good, dude. It's better if you just stop trying to come at everybody and just do your normal thing, do your normal show, and just let it go. Oh, wait, we got a comment here. VGHCX to settle this matter like gentlemen in the MMA cage. I just think all this name calling. Oh, and another thing they tried to do is expose lead attorney's office or address. They show what Derek Dion calls it is a trap house. He said it's a trap house in Atlanta. But if it's like a private mailbox or a postal box, which is what I believe it is, I don't think that's a gotcha moment either, because most people don't want their public address out there, so people don't be trying to come to their house and do all that. So if he's got another address that he uses for mail, again, that's not another gotcha moment, but it's just concerning me that this is what grown men are spending their time doing. Like, look at this house where he's getting his mail. I'm going to try to insult it. Like, what's the big deal? How is that a gotcha moment? I don't get it. I don't get it. I just feel like there's bigger things in the world, and we are just way too grown. And Corey Holcomb and his attorney are way, way, way too grown for some petty, look at where you're getting your mail, look at this house. Like, stop. It's not even that deep. Just explain what happened and let it go and keep it moving. But it was just the insults that just made me feel like I can't ride with that. But definitely let me know what you think. Let's keep that conversation going in the comments. I want to hear from you. We got one that says settle it in an MMA cage. We'll see. I don't know if that'll ever happen. I heard somebody called out Corey to say, you like to interact physically with women, come on and try that with me. I don't know if anything's gonna come from that, but somebody did put it out there. I can't remember their name, but somebody did put it out there. If you know the name, let me know in the comments. Now we're gonna move on over to fellow YouTuber Anton Daniels. So the tie-in with Anton Daniels and Corey Holcomb. And I saw a comment on Corey Holcomb's page on his last live that said this all happened because he invited, this is like Sinners, and this all happened because he invited Anton Daniels onto his show. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but the timing is wild because Anton Daniels came on that show in January and that interaction blew up, went viral, and those two had a real tense interaction with each other that gave the impression it was going to lead to blows. Some say nothing was never going to happen to begin with, and Anton Daniels straight up told him, you ain't about to do nothing. But he did put it out there that if you want to do something, I'm with it. Let's go on and do something. And Corey did not do nothing. I will say he did put that on out there. And nothing did go down. And not that I want to see that, but nothing did go down between the two. But that whole interaction went viral. And rightfully so, because it was just absolutely crazy and very tense. But one of the things that Corey said at the end of that when Anton Daniels was leaving was take your bee with you. You done brought a bee up here. I don't know. Explain the bee. Don't bring no bee with you that you can't explain. And then everybody's like, wait a minute. Who is up there? Well, Anton, because wasn't nobody else on the screen there. And everybody knows Anton is married because he is a conservative YouTuber for all intents and purposes. I think he's like self-identified as conservative. So I don't know if you had your wife there, but I would imagine Corey wouldn't be addressing his wife as saying, get the bee. You need to explain the bee. Who is this bee you have up here with you? I'm imagining he wouldn't be addressing his wife that way. So then that got everybody like, what you trying to do, Anton? You trying to do a little sneaky link, trying to go up to Corey's show and then bring somebody else with you in the background there. Well, at some point, it comes out that it's this lady right here who goes by Pop Culture Micca. So we just gonna put her right on up there. Let's get another picture of her. So she is the one who Corey was talking about on the show, saying, get your bee. Explain the bee. Don't be having this bee up here. I don't know who she is. So at that point, there's some questions of like, well, what were you doing there? Like, why were you there? Why were you thinking you were even going to be on Corey Holcomb's show? I personally never even heard of her. I guess she goes by Pop Culture Micca, and she has a Red Cup podcast as well. Never heard of her. Never even seen her on Anton Daniels' show. I only knew of her from this whole situation happening and her name being put out there after it was discovered who the person was that Corey was addressing. Now, she is allegedly married. And I say allegedly because she is making moves that I can't see a married woman doing, because if your husband saw this, and presumably if you have a phone and YouTube, he should be aware unless he's just completely disengaged from technology in the world itself. How is it cool that you went up to another city? Like, she had to fly out to go to this show with Anton because this was not filmed where she lives. So she had to take a flight to go with this man to go be on Corey Holcomb's show without even knowing for sure she was going to be on the show. She just went by Anton's word, which sounds to me very dingy, right? Because if I'm supposed to be on this big show, 5150, how come I don't know? Why is everything going through you would be my first question on here. And then why her? Of all the people that Anton has ever done stuff with, why would you be one that Corey would want on the show to know your opinion? And I'm not saying she don't have good opinions. I'm not saying she may not have a valuable opinion. It just seemed very weird that you would think Corey Holcomb would want you on the show when nobody has ever heard of you. I've never heard of you until they started talking about you being the alleged side chick to Anton Daniels. So I'm just very confused why she thought that. But I don't really think she thought that. I think they were having a sneaky link and the whole connection to try to make it look like a business situation or a business trip is I'm going to be going on the Corey Holcomb show. What I think he told her was some cupcake and like, I'm going to see if I can get you on there. And maybe he thought if things was going cool with Corey, he would be okay with it. Or maybe Corey might be mesmerized by her beauty and just let her come on the show. And kudos to Corey for not falling for that one. But I think that was just Anton's honey trap to get her to come on out. But what kind of confuses me is, as a married woman, I need to know for a fact I'm about to be on this show. And then when I'm traveling like that, my person would have to come with me. But she went by herself. And then they taking pictures like this. Now, I don't know too many married couples that lean in and he got his hand around her waist. You can't really see it, but he got his hand around her waist. I got the picture on my communities tab. And she's leaning in like this. That does not give marriage. That does not give marriage at all. If I saw that, I wouldn't say those two people were married at all. So that's why I got to say alleged husband, because boy, he's got to be one of the most understanding men ever to be okay with this and to let you fly out to a whole nother place to meet a man. And then you on a show where you get insulted, being told, get your B out of here. Who is this B? Don't be bringing her up here. Like, the whole way that came out made it look very questionable. Then I saw a clip from a show that they did the same day that the situation went down with Corey Holcomb, and it appeared that Anton was in the same hotel room as Micca. Now, I'm not saying men and women cannot work together. I'm not saying married men and women cannot work together. I am saying I would not be in a hotel room of any married man I'm dealing with as a professional business situation. Why are we in the same hotel room? And I'm married. Why are you in my hotel room? It's not a dorm room where you got, community spaces on the stuff. This is a private hotel room. Why are you in my hotel room? This man walking back and forth, brushing his teeth while she's sitting there on the Zoom. Hair looking like we just had some fun, and I just jumped right on here real quick because I forgot I was supposed to be on here. It was a mess. It was a mess. It was a mess. And then she thought, oh, I need to clear my name. I don't know who told her this was a good idea. And then she went on and did an interview with Tasha K. Now, baby girl she is not Tasha K interview ready, because the interview answers were just not given. She is not giving convincing. I'm not a side chick. If you're trying not to give that impression, Micca, you are doing the exact opposite. Your elusive answers, the fact nobody can really validate this husband. I ain't seen a picture. They say on your Instagram, can't nobody tell you are a married woman. Tasha K said herself, it does not give married woman. Now, she says she want to try to keep her husband off the internet because of stuff like this. You didn't keep your hands off of Anton on the internet. Your husband can't be seen, but you can be seen leaning into another woman's wife, another woman's husband like this. And you post this on your Instagram, but your husband is a secret. I don't know. These new school women, that's something new. And again, I need to know what husband is like, put all these other dudes on your Instagram, look like you are available, look like you're thirst trapping, and we good. That's that. We good, baby. Where'd you find this dude? Like, either you got some really good lies, you don't want to see it, or I don't know how she's pulling this off. I don't know how it's happening here. Anton say his wife know what he do. But if she didn't know what he do, Corey trying to call him out was what do you call it, dirty macking or something, and trying to put him on blast. I don't know if Anton's wife knows what he does or not. I don't know if she condones it. To each their own. That's to me, why be married if it's open to everybody? What's the point? But I'm not gonna judge other people's arrangements if that's what works for them. But for somebody to try to come out and tell us this is not what it looks like, and then they got footage of you being in this man's, he was saying, and that she just was there and didn't talk back or nothing. When he left, she left, and that was that. And so it kind of gave an impression like, wow, you kind of talking to her like she's taking your lead, like you're her man. Is she supposed to automatically follow what you say? Just the whole thing seems really off. So if you guys are trying to prove that something is not going on, none of this stuff is really looking good. And these are just videos and words coming out of your guys' mouth or how you guys look. It's nobody painting it any other way. But she did this interview with Orlando on Talk Perspective, and he just ate her up. He left no crumbs, and he just asked straight up, "Did you have an intimate relationship with Anton Daniels?" She says no, but that dramatic way she said no was almost screaming to me, yes. It was just given when Meg the Stallion was trying to be like, Tory Lanez, I never messed with Tory Lanez, and everybody saw that picture and was like, girl, nobody takes a picture with somebody like that if something ain't going on. That's what she was given there. Like, I think later on we'll find out something was actually going on with these two, but it's alleged. We don't know for sure. I'm not there. No idea, but I just think it's very odd the way these two interact with each other for married people that aren't dealing with each other outside of a professional type of relationship. She claims that Anton knew her from the work she was doing on TV. I guess she's done some stuff on TV and people sent him things, and that's how he allegedly reached out to her. Again, I never heard of her. And Tasha said, well, you don't really have any emotion. So I don't know why he would like reach out to you. And, she's just trying to play dingy the whole time. Like, it's me, it's my value, it's my talent that they saw. And I'm like, I think it's your looks. And not that you aren't smart and not that you aren't talented, but you clearly lead by your looks and you probably use them to your advantage. And that's okay because you're not the only one. But pretending like it's something that it isn't is what's making you look worse. And, it's just sometimes it's better to just let people think something than confirming it, and that's the problem here. She thought she was making herself look good, but to me she was digging a deeper hole. But these are just my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think if you had a chance to check out the interview she did with Tasha or the interview that she did with Orlando on Talk Perspective. Thank you so much for watching. Share the live out with family and friends. Helps to get the channel eyes out there, gets our name out there. We'll see you later on this weekend and have a great rest of your day. Thanks for